Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you my Mega Guild Super Base. Let's just go over the basic layouts. So you can see here I have an outside walkway, got towers with outside walkways around. I have a northern gate with a ramp that goes down into the main gate ramp. This allows you to just simply pull in, drop off your blood, drop off whatever you looted into these easy storage containers right here. You can see we can pop out right here. Really easy ground level access area. Up there is the hangar bay. We'll go over that in a second. This is the lower crafting room. You're potentially going to need quite some height for some of the advanced tier crafting, so this is where those stations will go. Over here is a water room. All the water is stored. All of my power is going to be generated in this corridor. I'm keeping it kind of out of the way, but this is great. Fief console I put over here. Started decorating some stuff. Then up here is mass storage in all crafting stations. One of the key highlights this, as you can see, is you can get from here to the storage and then all the way up into the hangar in about 5-6 seconds. So you can get anywhere in this base in about 5 to 8 seconds. It's pretty amazing. Now what I have here are a bunch of cubbies. I'm going to have around 16 people playing with me. Now, you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff, so I don't want to carry all of my gear, and I don't necessarily want people taking things that I've worked hard for. So, you want to work as a group, but you also want to allow people to have something that is theirs when you're playing in a large group of people so that everybody can just have some fun. Now, what we have here is the hangar bay. Ornithopters, assault ornithopters, will need to be shielded from sand. They will be destroyed, so eventually I'll get a wider gate at a higher tier, but you can
weather alert. A large sandstorm is
speak
approaching.
of the devil. So yes, if you leave your ornithopter on top of the roof, it would get torn to shreds. So this is a master hangar area along with everything. So yeah, I have designed this to be really efficient. Over here is the co-owner's lounge, specialized area. If you hold F for manage, assign access levels so the doors can only be accessed by co-managers. Same with the storage container here. This, like I said, is a little area where you can walk around, look around. This isn't really necessary, but it does look nice. But this is the base concept, is logistics, being able to move around, having lots of room. Storage is going to go all the way around the middle. The way that I'm doing my storage is like so. So let's use the legend. So you can see that there's blue, orange, green, and then everything else. These are specialized components used for different things in building. Now, when you're constructing or crafting items, it pulls from every single container in your base. So you don't even have to worry about that stuff. But eventually, I'm going to have bigger chests. We're going to have the best chests. The small ones do 10. These do 20. The next size up does 40. And those are going to be pretty big. So we're just going to have them lining down the middle. That way you can just run in, drop off what you have. The crafters have quick access, and then you run around the loop to craft everything that you need. And then most likely what I'm going to put over here are completed armor sets that people can use to go off and adventure with. So do your production, have drop-off points underneath, have pickup points, a really organized crafting area. Have it be open, have it be easy. Like I said, I can move around pretty much everywhere in the game. So I'm going to show you the process that I took to build all of this. Now keep in mind this is beta, and keep in mind this is a long form video, so if those kind of things aren't your cup of tea, I wanted to show you the final result before I got into all that boring stuff. But I do think a lot of people should stick around because it is pretty interesting how things are built in this game. Away we go. Hello everybody. So today's video I'm going to show you how I'm going to be building my super base. This is going to be a long form video. I am in the beta testing, so this is not what's going to be released on the 15th, but we get to show the very beginning stages of base building. I'm sure a lot of people want to know how base building in this game works. I'm just going to preface this by saying it's way better than Conan Exiles. It's one of the best base building systems I've ever seen in a game. They did a fantastic job on this. So this is going to be the long form version. I also have a short form. Let's get to it. It's really easy to get. It's a salvage product. You get something called a basic construction kit. It's just this small little device. Put the construction tool in your loadout. Currently we have access to 2 types of fiefs, or I should say 2 types of sub-fiefs, which are just basically bases. You can have multiples of these. The first sub-fief console only requires fuel, and it has no upkeep cost. The advanced sub-fief console, though, requires you to pay a tax collector 2,000 solari, like about every, it looks like 2 days. Now, one cool thing about sub-fiefs and all this stuff is you have this amazing layout. So I can add people as co-owners. I can set general permissions for the entire base at owner, co-owner only, associate, guild, and public. You can make your base available to anybody in the map, which I wouldn't do. You can make it available to just your guild mates. You can make it available to associates. So what that is if I come down to this permission list, I had to upgrade them from associate to co-owner. So you have 3 tiers. So if you have individual friends you like, you can do it this way. If you just want to do your guild, you can do it that way. So if you don't want associates to have access to everything, you can do so. You can also set individual privileges by holding F like on a chest, and you can set access level there too. So if you want a chest that only co-owners have access to in your guild and your base, you can do so. The only one that you can assign an individual user to, so you can't currently assign an individual person to a chest, which is something that I really wanted to do. But you can, on vehicle management, you can assign individual people to vehicles. That's one of the cool things. So you can have certain people do certain things. So there's a really good functionality in that regard to base manager. This is a mess because I had to remove a bunch of stuff, but this is going to be long form. I want people to see like everything that I'm doing, because what I'm doing is building what I want to do for my base guild. So we're going to have a garage, a crafting center, storage area, a lot of stuff. I'm going to go over all of it, so keep watching. When you get your construction tool, you on the right hand side, all you have to do to cycle through the options is right click, and then you use left click to apply that option. So piece picker, repair, move, demolish, build. Really, really cool. So you can do piece picker like that. Hitting R allows you to change your sets. So currently I have access to 2 different building materials. This one is the tier 1 that you get. It's just 12 granite stone per piece at 5,000 HP. HP doesn't really matter too much in the PvE Haga Basin, but this will be PvP focus for sure. The chrome facility takes just a little bit more granite stone, but you can see it has a big bump in HP. It also looks decidedly better. Has things like wide doors for garages and all that jazz. So they have an enormous amount of like foundations. So we got basic foundation, triangle foundation, rounded foundation, center columns, because there is a support system and structural integrity in this game. Wall pieces like windows and half walls, wall 2. So this wall kind of like pokes out a little bit. It's a little bit circular. Then you have rounded windows for corners. You have passageways, you have wide doors, you have a prudence door, which requires iron ingots, but it is basically a shield door, and you can set permissions. So if I set the permission of that door to co-owner only co-owners can pass through that shield or open the door. It's pretty sweet. And you know, you have wedge wall pieces, and you have different types of roofs, different types of angles. So you're not limited in the way that you want to build things in this game. Then you have special railings. So I'm sure people are going to comment on my design, but what I'm trying to, I'm trying really hard to make something that's space efficient and is, you know, doesn't look entirely like a Walmart, but sometimes that's hard to do when you're trying to make space efficient designs. But you can see how big this is. It goes up on the second fief. It goes up about, I'd say 10 stories. It doesn't look like much from down here, but holy cow, is it. So, we need to be careful because if the sandstorms do come, it's gonna start tearing apart the bike. Your bikes need to be enclosed in an area. So what I've done is I've essentially set down the foundations. You do have, it is a little tricky to get foundations down when you're kind of going into the terrain like this. So I'm just going to show you one example because it's not something I think needs to be shown a lot. So right there you can see that I just removed the foundation. I'm going to go over to my, not our, we don't want to do our favorites because our favorites are the old one. So all you do is just put down, make sure you put down the foundation there. Perfection. And yeah, we're golden. So I've enclosed this area. It's going to be a garage. This is going to be a unique design, and I'll show you. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm going to be kind of doing this on the fly. I thought it'd be kind of cool to show people the whole process of base building. So if you're a bit squeamish on long form content, don't be afraid. I won't be offended if you don't want to watch this, but I do think that there is a subset of people who are very much interested. Another cool thing that I'm going to tell you guys, when crafting and when building, it pulls from every storage device in your base. You don't have to have all this in your inventory. All you got to do is shove it in a box and it's going to pull. That's another thing that makes this just such a great game. It's just so user friendly in that regard. And you actually don't even need to run around like I'm doing. I just lost a little bit. You can select cells from very, very far away. So yeah, pretty cool. All right. So I had a couple of minds. I thought about doing like a railing around the whole base. What I'm doing over here is using these corner pieces I'm trying to give it that rounded like effect, and I kind of want to do some tower type stuff. So let's go to the build tab. You can easily just hit R and look at things. It takes, like I said, the biggest ticker is just knowing right click is what puts you through the options. It's really confusing at first, but if you know that, it's pretty intuitive after that point. So yeah, we got structural walls. So what we want here is a rounded foundation. Then you hold Alt and use the mouse wheel to simply turn and move things. It's really simple. So we're going to come around and round all these corners. You want to make sure if there are any foundation pieces that need to be placed below. Like, I'm just going to run around and show you. You want to make sure that you're rounding everything. So this one, you know, needed a little bit of foundation. That's perfect. We're just going to go with that. So we're beautiful over there. And then over here, we're just going to slap that in. Bump that up. Now you can use a couple of things here. You can either make these solid foundation pieces. I think potentially there could be some advantage to that, but we may end up just using columns. So if we want to do walls here, we have a lot of options, right? So we need to come down here and look at rounded windows. So rounded window 1, rounded window 2. So this is what a rounded window 2 looks like, and I think that looks really cool. So I'm kind of on the fence whether or not I wanted to have an outside railing area. I think what we'll do is just do balconies on separate floors. So I have the foundation here just as a way to encapsulate everything. I think it looks kind of nice. I have some other plans, but it's going to require moving some things around. So you're going to want your garage to be 2 tiles high in certain areas for the buggies. We don't have the buggies yet, so I'm just kind of like pre-planning what I think it should look like. And that's what I'm thinking in my head. It would look nice. But these rounded areas with windows is nice. So this whole area down here is going to be it's going to be interesting because it's going to be crafting. It's going to be a whole crafting area. You have to be a little careful. Sometimes I mess up. So the piece picker, what this does is if I look at an object and I click on it, it puts that right into my thing. So if you don't want to cycle through your inventory, you just use the piece picker. Yeah, and I will say, sometimes after you place a block, it's best to build it. It can be sometimes difficult to build things after, because it's trying to select basically a different block. And you can see I'm building in a still suit to get that heat reduction. It does help to have a still suit for when you're building an open base. It's not a requirement, but, you know. There we go. Okay. So we have all of that. So now we have to decide how many windows do we want. I mean, honestly, I really like the windowed units. There's window 1 and 2. So what I'm thinking is, so you can see here it says outer face, right? Outer face, inner face. So it's really, really cool in that regard. All you have to do is hit Alt and rotate it. So just make sure that the inner face is on the inside and you'll be good. But I think what we're going to do is do windows all the way around because it does look pretty neat. And again, it is advisable to build. Another thing that you probably want to take into consideration is just coming outside and looking at how that looks, if you like it or not. I'm not really sure if I like it. It pokes out just a tad bit. Like this one actually looks pretty cool. But this is what the pieces are going to look like. And I have some really cool ideas for the ramp. I know right now this all looks really, like, simplistic and basic, so... but yeah, we're going to have it poke out. I think it poking out is fine, and I can always come down and alter. I think you get about, like, 2,600 pieces. You are limited to, like, 75 chests and things like that. And I'll go over some more sub-beef stuff here in a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's going to poke out just a tad bit. And what I'm going to have is kind of a multi-layered area. So this looks a little funky here, but we can play that one by ear. So I'm going to demolish these little ramps that I made. What I want to do is a little interesting. So the coolest thing about this game is that you can move anything simply by using the move tool. Gone are the days of craziness, like, and having to do a lot of crap, like destroying and rebuilding. All of that is gone. So what I would like in this area, right, personally, is a side ramp entryway for buggies. So we can see here, we could potentially pull some of this floor out for buggy. So I want these tiles right here, the 2 tiles for buggies. We need to make this 2 tiles high. We're going to have kind of like a little interesting side area. So what I'm thinking here is that we use inclines, not staircases. You do want ramps. And all you have to do is use the mouse wheel for this. And yeah, like so. So a ramp down into this. And a ramp here. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that I don't have to drive all the way around for my buggies. This was something I thought would be kind of cool, is to just have this and sometimes what you got to do is look down on an object. It's a little finicky, but keep in mind this is a beta and they're gonna spruce all this stuff up. I mean, for what it is, it works really well. So I do have heat stroke right now, which is a terrible thing. I have a lot of water for all this. Probably should have built it at night. I don't really particularly care about, you know, being an obsessive freak in this stuff, though. So I like to build in the day so you can see everything, but we'll get in the shade and we'll get our thing up. But essentially what I want this for is the main entrance for buggies. Another thing is you don't get sun damage when you're on a bike, which is funny because you're still just equally as exposed. But yeah, so I have a double gates here. So this is where you're gonna park. We're gonna have offload storage down here, and we'll have a ramp down that way so you can come in from any side of the space. Well, at least 2 sides. Alright, we'll probably mess around with some of this stuff. But yeah, the idea here is that I can come in from here and then just be down in this area. Or if I want to go out that way, I can. This is why so this is one reason why the shield doors are nicer, but they're higher tier and I don't have access to them. You have to wait for these doors to open to go through them, but with the phase doors, they keep everybody out and you can just run right through them. I really want a phase door, to be honest. But yeah. So that was my concept, was have an outside ramp. Also, for foot traffic, but yeah. This is great. And then you can look out the windows on the side. Alright. I've been collecting a lot of material for this build, so this is going to be a pretty insane build. Okay. So now I can put either a garage door, a big one. So these are really big, so this is one problem. Or I might need multiple ramps. And so I am kind of on the fence about that one. So if I line this up, come in from that ramp. Yeah. It has to be big enough. That's the thing. So you could do that, but you couldn't get something through it. Now that is a problem, because that would work, but then people can walk right through it, so that sucks. So this is the outer face. Make sure that you have the inner face. Alright. So this will be the entry point. And remember, the piece picker is your friend, so that you don't have to keep cycling through hell. Just do the ramp like that. Okay. And then we're going to move some stuff out of the way. I'm not caring about where I'm placing stuff entirely, because I do plan on adjusting some of this. And what I want to do is make an area for bike storage underground where all this is. So most likely I will need like a pillar support and things like that. But I'm going to count out my blocks and make sure that it is you know, very efficient for what we're trying to do. And I'm already messed up. So we're going to make the ramp on this side just a tad bit bigger. We're going to have plenty of space for everything, so I wouldn't be too concerned with it. So, yep. So, demolish, 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 demolish. And do the piece picker. Boom, boom. I love it. Love it. Building is so intuitive here. So yeah, now you can drive your bike down into this little ditch area here. And what's kind of cool is what you have are like wedge walls and half walls. So we have little half walls that we can use to kind of make sure people don't fall into this area. Like, you can also adjust the height with left control. So you're probably wondering, what are you going to put over here? I'm probably going to put like water storage up against this whole wall and have this be just a massive water storage room. Be anything I want. Things that I don't have to necessarily touch. Yeah, and sometimes you'll have little accidents like that. That's not a big deal. But there you go. You have your half wall. And, yeah, do your piece picker. These half walls... Oopsie daisy. These half walls are pretty cool. Alright. Yeah, so that should be outer. And what's cool about these half walls is if I want, I can place other things on top of them. So, and I might do that. I might have a staircase going over, and then we can use the space above this for something interesting. And then what we have here is also pretty cool. Now, what I would like to do here is try to figure out a healthy point of doing some of this stuff. The half walls, though, do allow you to raise an area by 1.5 walls instead of 2, thus, you know, maximizing your space a little bit more if you're into that. I will say I'm not really sure how intuitive it will be for really large guilds to base together, but I think it will be fine. So you can only have 40 people per Haga basin, so, and you're probably going to have multiple bases. Oh shit, yeah, I see that. So yeah, what I'm thinking here is removing all this, putting in a ceiling, and putting in a bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff a little bit further back. I'm thinking we'll do one more tile here. This is kind of the annoying thing about having a base in this already kind of built, is you have to move things around. And you can move your fief console. It doesn't change where your fief console was placed. You literally can move it anywhere you want. Okay. So, yeah, now we got a good thing going here. I might just demolish that. Okay. So now we have a really nice area for pretty much everything. So this is the tricky part. So we can also, as you can see, this is 1.5. You can also just park motorcycles all along here too. A lot of good room. Okay. So what I want to do now is define my areas. And we're going to define this area here. So, okay. Like I said, I want this to be 2 tiles. And I think we're going to place and build all in one go. That should be outer. These should be outer because they're facing inward. Okay. Yeah, it can be a little tricky. So we only need, I think we were only going to do 4 tiles in. Damn it. Yeah, we're going to do 4 tiles in. This is going to be for buggies who might need just like a little bit more room. Perfect. And then this will all, yeah, that works out really well. And then the rest of it will be half walls. Yeah, the main area is going to be a little tricky. But I think it's going to lead to a really cool design to kind of have these areas merging halfway into each other. I'm trying to make this look decent with without going too crazy. It's sometimes a little hard. Perfect. All right, and then 4 tiles in, like we discussed. Yeah, 4,000 granite, so I'm hoping I can do the whole build today. Spend like the whole night gathering this stuff. Perfect. Accidentally deleted that. That's why the piece picker is just so nice. And remember, you can just Alt, make sure everything lines up. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so this back area here, I'm probably just going to fill with water storage. Got a nice little area back here for any kind of storage that you want. Perfection. Yeah, if a sandstorm comes, it's going to destroy my bike, and probably what I should do is put my bike up. So there's a thing called a vehicle backup tool in this game. Probably one of the most useful things in the game. You just pull out your vehicle backup, come up to your bike, put it away. So yeah, if we get hit by a sandstorm, everything in here will be fine, but bikes do get screwed up if they're not proper. And we're going to drink from our still suit for water. Okay. Yeah, things are looking a little funky in here, but I think overall pretty decent. So we'll have a little bit of under area for any kind of storage that we want. That will be great. I think that this is fine. So this initial crafting area will be like so. I'm going to do something a little weird. I am going to leave the crafting area will need tiles that are pretty high for future crafting buildings, which are very, very tall. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of what I would call wiggle room. Don't mind the crashing don't mind the crashing stuff all around us. All right. So yeah, what we need now are structural pieces. So we're going to use a flat roof here, and we can place things on this, so don't fret. It looks a little different because it's a roof tile instead of a foundation, but that's okay. You can cover some of this stuff up with rugs. We'll just cover it up with a rug. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So that creates a little place where people can park underneath all this. And then what I'm gonna do is have this go up in here. Cool. Yeah. So now we're gonna put the top on, and what we're gonna have is a kind of floating area. Shit, dude. So this is a problem actually building from up, because you can see I'm placing things down. And that's why it's kind of best when you place something to build it with the system that they have here, because it gets a little hectic. Yeah, you can see it gets a little finicky sometimes. Now this isn't the actual roof of the building, so you can make fancier roofs. And it will tell you if there's no support for it, and at that time you can start using pillars and things like that. Beautiful, isn't it? This is all going to tie together. I have the design in my head. I'm not actually... This isn't actually just like me completely winging it. I mean, sometimes I'm going to modify the design in my head, but I have every single level of this in my head design. I've been thinking about it for several days, so I think it's going to work out well. I'm trying to account for things that I don't know and things that I do know. So here we go. So you can see that we can park big buggies in here. We can park other things in here. It's going to be fantastic. Now, the area that I want to go now into is inclines. And we're going to do stairs. So you'll walk into this area. And yeah, we'll have a walled area there. And you're going to have stairs coming up into this. So, and we'll use some half wall pieces, and then this gets you into the next stone. Beautiful. Everything I imagined it would be. And we need to get some of the walls over here. Go piece part picker. Come over here and get these walls, but this is all going to be massive crafting area. Yeah, it seems like coming from above and looking out a long distance does actually help a lot, so that might be my new strategy. Yeah, clicking on the top, that seems to be the way to do it. Trying to figure out how to best do this without it glitching out, but you can blueprint your designs too in this game. You can blueprint a whole base. So, fortunately, I can't save it, which I would love if I could save it. But you put a blueprint down, and then people just run around and click on stuff. So pretty cool. All right, so we have our entryway over there. This is gonna be the main entryway over here, and then we'll just put windows over here. Just trying to get the entire wall foundation down. So the first story is going to be the garage. Oh, it's like kind of a mix, right? It's like garage crafting area, and then it's a mix of other things. I might even have a way down over here. Oh man. And then yeah, we do a piece picker right here. And you can see that there's a corner piece that we can use over there, so that's great. I mean, if we want, we could do something like that too, but what I'm going to have this be 2 stories. This area over here, like I said, is going to be used primarily as a lookout point and water storage. I think it's going to work out really well. We also put blood and all types of stuff in there. All types of goodies. Okay. Let's come over here. Now, all we got to do is line it up. Perfect. It looks a little different. Huh. That's alright. Yeah, this actually wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I don't think there's a corner hatch up. Okay. I can always... Cool thing is right now I'm getting the foundation down. Like, I can always come through here, right? And I can always amend some of these ideas. Nothing is... forever. And it looks like I'm not even going to need that little wedge piece because I'm using the stairs, so I didn't think about that. But look at that. Yeah, now we got a wedge. Cool. And this is where those half-wall wedges come into play. Now you can see we have this wedge. So you just need to find the exact wedge that you need for this area. It's probably going to be easier to do it from up top. But yeah, everything in this game just allows you to do whatever you need to do. So we just need to find the wedge piece that fits here. There we go. I think it's this guy right here. Here we are. And we got our perfect wedge. So now we have... I'm going to probably put a doorway here so we can get down in here. But now we have this zone. People, if they want to get into the main base, they just walk through here. We have enough room for everything. I'm going to put lights down here in a little bit, so don't worry. It's going to be a little dark for now, but... Then we have half walls to kind of open it up. And I think we are going to place... I think we do want to place a wedge piece here, maybe? I don't think it's going to look very good. But I think there's a wedge piece that we can use, which is like the light lead wedge. Let's see. Let's see what we can finagle here. They got this really thin one. Nah, it's not going to look good enough. We need like a a small corner. I think that this is fine the way it is, but let's see. What could I do here? Yeah, I mean, I could do it like that, but it's unnecessary. And that's not a bad... Also, if you want to come down here, you can kind of just... This is not that bad because you can just kind of leap down here, so that's kind of cool. I might finagle this to be a little bit nicer, but those are the things that you'll spend time on. All right, the basics, though. Going back to the basics. Okay, so what we want here are good walls. So we're going to go... Yeah. We're going to go with the corner wall window here. I like the windows quite a bit. I think they look pretty sweet. I'm going to put towers on a different part of all of this. We'll do that over there. Just kind of getting everything set up. You can see we're going through... I think we'll be able to get a good portion of this done today. Yeah, building giant bases. Quite a bit of work. We're getting thirsty. Yeah, make sure you got water. There we go. Been harvesting blood off of people, so got quite a bit of blood. All right. Yeah, getting the corners done is probably the hardest. I mean, I might just want to start doing all of it. Okay. So this is going to be... Yeah, I should just do all of them. This is going to be 2 tiles high. Here. And the main crafting area is going to be 3 tiles high. Perfect. So this area will be a little bit taller. That's going to allow for extra special buildings. What's kind of cool is you can even do little nooks and stuff on this. Perfect. Okay. I just want to get the corner pieces. So this is it. We're just going to do a whole thing here. I definitely think I'm going to do a roof over these guys because these areas don't need to be big. And this gives me more accessibility for other things. I actually have an idea for this. This is going to be a co-owner storage area, potentially. So, yeah. That leaves, I think this area I'm going to leave open for big stuff. So we're only going to do it on that side. Only going to do it on that side. This is actually perfect because we can't have anything above this. So yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect. I was wondering how I was going to fit this all in. This is exactly what we're going to do. So it's going to be a two-story tall co-owner storage room. So we're going to have a little bit of a mix. I want things to be readily accessible, but not too crazy. I need to be able to have storage at an accessible point. Perfect. Like I said, the levels are going to bend into each other in the design I have, and I like it because it's fluid. You don't have to run up too many flights of stairs. It's hard to merge efficiency with aesthetics, and I'm trying my best here. I'm trying my best here to do that. And I'll probably decorate it all later. But yeah, this is perfect. This is going to be the co-owner's lounge right here. And you're going to be able to walk into it like so. Perfection. This will be for tall crafting. So all the tall crafting can come in here. Everything else can come in here. This is going to be crafting and storage. So all the storage is going to go up against the walls here. On the outskirts, all the crafting will be inside. This will be a massive crafting area. So we have the staircase into this area. So you walk in through the door, you run up here. All the storage will be right here. This will be cleaned out so that it's easier to get around. But that's going to be the main thing. And I think that I'm going to need potentially... I mean, honestly, over here, this this area here. So that area over there is water, right? But this area over here, I'm gonna change my mind on. I need to be careful that I don't take all this down. I'm gonna make this another ramp. That way there's ramps on all sides. I think this is the way to go. I like this. I want people to have ease of access to a lot of stuff. And this also... Okay, so this is where I'm scared. Alright. This is actually kind of cool. This is actually kind of cool. Perfect. And... These are full... Oh, these are walls. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep that. Okay. So you can see... We're looking sharp. Yeah, we'll keep that little... Keep that little edge. We need to. Huh. We actually might not need that. Yeah, that kind of throws all that off the bag. To be honest, you're going to be walking up this, right? So I do like the distinction of areas, like quite a bit. So I think what I'm actually going to do is do this. That way, this could be a little room, a little cubby area. I'll think about it. I mean, this is a really big garage for everything that we got going on. And yeah, so here's this area. Back here is going to be water, blood, all that jazz. And yeah, then you walk into the massive crafting area. Nice. Get another thing down here. This is looking perfect. Okay. Perfect. I'm loving it. I'm modifying my idea on the fly, so but the overall idea is there. Perfect. This is where a wedge would be useful. I'm not going to do that though because I like backspaces. So, yep, now you can go down on either side over here. So I think that's really cool. Over here we have, that's just a walking ramp though. So this is the northern entry point, southern entry point. Down here, I think what I'm going to do is demolish this. And what I think we'll do is demolish both of these. And I'm going to have these meet so that it's fluid and that I don't have to have a weird staircase. Oh, that roof tiles. I mean, roof tiles are kind of cool because you could park something underneath these, right? I also feel like it's a recipe for disaster because if something gets stuck. So yeah, let's just try to avoid that. Try to avoid stuck spaces. Okay, so if I do it like that, see, then I can do... So you can, like I said, you can hit things from pretty far away. There we go. There we go. That's just a worm. Don't mind the worms. Worms are our friends. Okay. So this now becomes unnecessary. That's still cool. I still like this. I mean, we could bust it out in a different way and we could organize it. But there we go. So now you can... Everything is lined up. Everything's free. So you come in, you're right in the storage area. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. Oh, beautiful day. Yeah, this is coming along real nice. This is getting pretty slick. Cool. So we have good foundations. I might need to use... One thing I'm kind of worried about, though, is I might need to put a pillar down here. So let me see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So not even. We'll see. We'll see what I need to do pillar-wise. But we're getting there. Alright. So now we can get this area up. I need to figure out how I want to do stairs on this side to go up to the next area. So I'm thinking probably something pretty similar to what I did last time. These little guys in the corner, I wanted to turn into like some kind of tower at some point, but we'll see. I'm most likely going to just get the shell of the design and then amend it. I kind of find that that's the best way to design things, is to not try really hard. Like, it's really easy to overthink overthink your designs. So right now we're losing a lot of water because we're exposed to the sun, and I'm okay with it. I got a bunch of water. Hopefully it turns to be nighttime soon. One thing I would like is multi-cell walls, or like longer walls. Yeah, we're gonna get parched here in a second. All right, let's get out of the sun. This is a survival game. Here we go. Let's get out of the sun for a bit. We have pretty high sun tolerance. I'm a Bene Gesserit, so I also have the skill for sun tolerance, but even with all that, I mean, we're doing, to be honest, most players would have been parched much sooner, but even with the still suit and all the proper skills, you know. You're basically a basement dweller in this game, so. Staring right at the sun. Oh god. But yeah, we're making this area bigger so that we can put more stuff. Ugh. Okay, this is gonna be the hard part. There we go. I said sometimes it's best to come from below and look up. Seems to be the best. There we go. Oh, yeah, you can go up in halves, which is pretty cool. I personally like the windowed units because they let in like natural lights and stuff. You can't really see out of them very well. You can see slightly out of them. They also just, they look way cooler from a distance. They have that, you know, that city-esque look. It's better, I mean, it's better honestly than just a straight up wall. Hey, Daisy. Yeah, I've tried holding down. There doesn't appear to be any option for Okay, so you can see we have quite the area here now. This is gonna be the co-owner's lounge. I'm gonna have windows facing into the sweatshop so we can watch our workers toil, which I guess the workers are just me, so I can watch myself toil. It will look official. Now, this is just going to be an area where I have co-owner storage for the guild. There are certain things that you don't want people to have access to just to protect them from using, you know, certain resources. So you can have something like this. I think it's going to be great. I do want to get a shield door for this area. But I also don't want people to be able to... the shield doors are cool because people can't walk through them very easily. I think the normal doors they can't walk through anyway. So, but I've seen people walk through my doors before, so like other players when I was playing, so I'm a little concerned about that. And we just put a window. No way in. So those are walls. Structurals. Roofs. Inclines. Special. Get railings in this. The railings may have been a nicer touch in some of these areas, but yeah. Interface. Perfect. So what you do then is you get a door, you go to manage, and you say that only co-owner, you can make one just for you too, but only the co-owners can get in here. All of this will work. So, yep, access rank number 2. So now you got this little area. Beautiful. It's everything your heart desires. More. Now we need to get the roof tiles. Yeah, we're burning through a lot of our resources too, so. But this will allow you to have just a nice little area for storage. Now later storage is going to be huge, so keep that in mind. I am a little upset that we're only allowed to have so many lights too. There's only so many assets you can put per base. All right. So we just need to get this in place. There we go. So now we can see outside. We can see, you can see into the crafting room here. You can see a little bit outside. That's kind of cool, actually. Got a nice little thing. Let's take a peek and see what all this looks like. We're getting there. Oh yeah, that's looking sharp. It does look like a Walmart, but this is going to be a Fortress of Solitude. I do plan on having like a balcony and things like that. Maybe having a balcony in the co-owner's lounge would be kind of cool. So let me see. What can we do here? All right, let me see. What areas do I have? Okay, so if we use these roof pieces like so, we can make a circle balcony area. I need something a bit rounded here. Perfect. The same piece. Didn't do shit. Okay. Yeah, interestingly enough, I think I did place these upside down. No, it's just oh, it is a different piece. It is a different piece. Interesting. I'm gonna leave it alone though. I just for the time being, I'm just kind of showcasing off. Now you can do a lot more complicated things than this. I'm sure some of you are chomping at the bit because you've played games like this in Rust and yeah, but this is the kind of stuff you can do. So we're gonna use these railings. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is pretty sweet. One thing that's kind of driving me nuts is that when I'm in the build menu, it has something out and it kind of causes conflicts like that. No idea what I just placed. All right, we're gonna do this from down below. There we go. Okay. So what I think I'm gonna do, demolish this and bump this out just a tad bit. All right, we're getting a little thirsty. Drink our still water. But that's what I was saying. Like you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have ideas and you're gonna want to change things up. So we need to put this underneath all of these guys. So what we need to actually do, demolish this. Put this here. And then just replicate the above with those pieces. Ba-boom. 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 But this is actually a good showcase of all the different angled pieces that you can get in this game. And then what I think we're going to do yeah, some of these are interesting, is have a little circle room. So everybody gets a peek. This is actually kind of a cool room for oh man, this is actually a really cool room. I like the angleness of all this. I like this a lot. Okay, this is what's driving me fucking crazy though right now. Is like I don't want to have anything selected. I just want to build what I'm looking at. Probably should look that up because that's a good one. All right. So now we have the circle bump. Give it a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then we'll have a doorway. That will be a little area. You put a gun there or something. Put that bump. All right, cool. And that gives us a little bit more space to build. All right. So all I need for this now is a weird doorway. So that's the $1 million question right there. It looks like we'll have to have an angled doorway. That's interesting. Yeah, that might be a special piece. That might be a special piece that we'd have to get in the future. Okay. So I'm just going to have 2 doors that go out there. And once again, go to manage and make them co-owner. Hold F and co-owner. All right, so if anyone jumps up here, they can't just traipse in. So this is pretty sweet. Got yourself a little area you can look out into the wasteland. Little co-owner lounge thing. I'll mess with this in a little bit. But here we go. This is going to be co-owner storage room. And I kind of like this spot right here up top. Definitely need to seal it. So go back. Get the structural. Let's get the roofs. Get the corner we need. Okay. Probably this is, like I said, this is where I go kind of bonkers here. Alright, perfect. There we go. We got ourselves a nice little wedge. Nice little room. I'm actually kind of thinking in my head, demolish this. Let's place a normal wall here. Half wall? Yeah, we could. Yeah. Normal wall. Actually, that's the so this is the circle wall. That actually kind of looks cool. It's a little bumpy. I like it. And then we can put a staircase up here. And I don't know. I can have something really cool up there. I'm just trying to work with what I got. But yeah, some of this stuff is interesting. Sure. Okay, little nook in here. Yeah, now we got this little spot here. There's no windows on this corner piece, but it's kind of interesting. I think I blocked it off with the roof or something. Let's see. All right, but yeah, now we have the co-owner room. Yeah, no, it's just weird. I like it though. Looks a little different, but let's see what it looks like from far away. Nice. Yeah, it's a little bump. If I could do that to all corners, which I might be able to do, but that's going to be something I do at a later point, I will. This isn't going to be perfect. I mean, it's not going to be the final result, even. I just want to show people how base building in this game works, and I want to show people my thought process. Cool. So we have this whole freaking area pretty much done. Now what we need is, I'm going to have 2 more floors. The 3rd floor is going to be a room for people to have their own individual storage so they can set their still suits and weapons and all that. And I don't think it actually needs to, I was going to have a hangar and I was going to have personal and hangar. I think I could probably actually do the hangar and everyone's personal storage all in one go. This is actually much bigger than I thought. All this down here is going to be additional storage and crafting. My thought process was to have all the storage up against this area here, or have the storage all in the center in rows, and each row be corresponding to a certain type of production. And then, yeah, you could have your production guys all along the sides here. Basically, I want people to quickly be able to come in here and drop off their goods. I also want it to look nice and neat. So those are hard things to do. Those are hard things to do. But we have so much area. Now, getting up to the 3rd floor, I feel like that should be pretty easy to do. So if you come up this ramp, I would assume you would want a way up on this side and this side. So we got this part done, and now we need to get the staircase going up. Let me think. Yeah, if I put, that's just it. If I put a staircase here, which isn't a bad idea, and I could use a corner piece to hide this, the wedge wall piece. Sorry, I'm getting a little weird. Alright. Wedge wall. Triangle wall top left. Triangle wall top right. Bottom left. Okay, you can do this though to make sure that people can't get under it. I mean, like, you can put stuff under this, but it does make it look a little bit more official when you do stuff like that. However, yeah, this doesn't exactly, that's the thought process there. Doesn't precisely work, so I'm just messing with the concept right now. I mean, the inclines are pretty sweet. I would like something a little different. Yeah, staircase like that. Alright. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go with the tried and true. So you come up, and then you come up here. I'm gonna leave this as is so that we can put stuff underneath it. And then, yep. Now this is the, we'll see if we can, structural integrity of this will hold. Go. This is gonna be the interesting part. Now, this is going to be the hangar / room area. So half of this is going to be a hangar, and half is going to be the area where people can place their stuff. I'm thinking that the hangar should face outward. I also think that the hangar should probably be above this area here, because this is going to be interesting. I have some ideas. I'm kind of changing some of my ideas as I go, because I'm realizing I don't need to make this 4 stories. Now, you want to leave room on your ceiling for wind turbines and all that jazz. There are other buildings to consider, extremities, like things that poke out the top. So, unfortunately, I should actually have to say fortunately, I didn't need as much room as I thought. And I think I'm going to be able to do something cool. Now, what's great, like I said, is right now I'm just building the shell. This is not going to be the final result. I'm going to take a peek at everything. I'm going to look at the logistics of movement. And I'm going to make sure that everything lines up with what I thought it should be. And so far, so good, right? So you can have up to 75 chests in the 2nd tier fief. So my thought process, I don't know how many people are going to be playing with me at launch in my guild. They're all friends of friends. We're not playing with randoms because we're kind of used to tight-knit groups, so I don't think I have to worry too much. But I did want a place where people can have an individualized area so that they don't you only have so many inventory slots, so you can only have 35. So having to carry around like gear all the time is counterproductive to pulling back lots of resources, because it's pretty easy. There's a lot of different materials in this game, so I like to go out with like with pretty much my whole bar in my backpack open for that reason. So I'm trying to account for that, and I think we're gonna do fine. Okay. Yeah, so this area, like I said, so this is where, yes, this is gonna be where everything merges. I would like to do, kind of have a double-sided walkway up, but that will counter some of that stuff down there. I think it can be done. So what I'm thinking is, because we're gonna have a hangar bay, right, on this side. Yeah, this can be done. Okay. So trying to make sure that people can move around freely. Most important thing. Oh, perfect. The hangar can be right here. That's going to be the hangar entrance. Yeah, I almost wanted to go the opposite direction, but people can just jump into that, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, a lot of nice quality of life things with building in this game. So there we go. So this basically gives me, you can use Q and E to cycle through this, like I was saying earlier, but okay. So this basically gives me one area that people can mob in. So I think what we're gonna do, have a gate there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick a side. It's not even, and that kind of stuff drives me crazy. Well, this one honestly should have been one more tile back, but I want to keep it clean, so that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. It would make sense from my perspective to have it here. All right, so yeah, your ornithopters will, I've seen pictures, they will have to be enclosed, and they can fly through these giant things. And honestly, having a space of 3 is probably a good thing, because I'm sure at some point I'm going to get something a little bit better. But that's that. So the next step is going to be figuring out how much space I need for the hangar, which I don't think is going to be much. I also want to get a staircase. Oh shit, wrong thing. Also want to get a staircase for this area too. I want to do the corners last. I probably should actually just be doing each one like this. Save myself a lot of time having to come back through here. Apologies if this is boring, but it is cool. Keep in mind, like I said, this is a beta. The beta version. I think, based off what I'm seeing, I think this game is going to be amazing. I am... It like, honestly, like, it's weird. It's a calming game in a lot of ways. It's kind of calming. I love, like, the interface thing is probably, like, one of the most amazing things. Like, they did such a good job, like, making this as easy as possible. Like, it could have been so much worse. I think they've learned a lot from Conan and other games in the genre about what makes things user-friendly. But yeah, there's a lot of shapes. You can make You can make castles, you can make, you know, things that are kind of towery. Or you can make the board collective like me. Okay. So we got a lot of good things. So I think we did rounded, I think we want rounded window 2 if we want windows open. Okay, yeah. I was using rounded windows 1. And they were closed. Alright, we'll have to go around those edges. I'm going to get all the corners. All we got to do now is put a roof on this and then get the rooms done. I might just need to go out and get a little bit of granite. Not sure yet. But for the most part, we are on the end of all this building. It's huge. It's very big. And then I still have to start filling it out. Yeah. You should definitely build as up as if you're gonna use the same thing like I did. I probably could have done this much faster just by doing four tiles at a time. But to be fair, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. In full, I wasn't sure, but okay. So now it's just roof pieces. So we're gonna do the corner pieces first. But yeah, this will be a giant hangar. I'm gonna drink from our still suit. Getting parched. Still suits are pretty darn cool. They're just they're low armor, but there is actually a still suit schematic you can get that has like a 50 armor from one of the first places, and it's amazing. We've only found it once. But look at all these like different things. There's a hatch here. So I am gonna want a hatch to get up to the roof. I think I'm gonna place that here. When you come up right there, and then so special thing that we need for this is going to be a ladder up. Ladder up. There we go. Now you can climb through the hatch and get onto the roof. That'll be cool. Like I said, we can modify any of this. Nothing is permanent. It's super easy to redo things. Super easy to delete and move things. I think we have just enough for all of this. Now I wanted to make this big without it being, you know, a chore to move around. So this is just the shell. I haven't even shown you like how I planned on maneuvering all the crafting, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, one quality of life thing I would like is the ability to do multiple cells. When you're placing, if you just hold down, holy cow, that's actually much faster. Yeah, just literally hold down. Instead of clicking and then filling, hold down. Wow. I've been doing that from the start. It's much easier. This is why I like Windows. There's someone on a bike over there. But there we go. We got the shell. I want to see what this all looks like from the outside. But this took a lot. This took a lot of work. Oh yeah, that's a Wal-Mart for sure. Okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna we're definitely going to add some corner towers and things like that. It's not going to look like a blob. Like I said, this is just the shell. And then I'm thinking I'll add some more stuff. It looks like a Walmart. But it's going to be super efficient. It's a little bulgy in certain spots, but I can fix that. I can fix all of this. But yeah. So it's got the hanger up top. I kind of want to move that bay over one so it aligns. It looks a little funky. And I want to place, yeah, I want to place like some, I think the corners I'm going to convert to look exactly like the lounge area that I had, if possible. If not, yeah. Okay. It's definitely a board cube. And I place things just, everything's not going to be perfect all the time, you know, it's just the way things are. But, I'm going to replace all of these ramps here to be of a higher angle. I swear to God, this is actually going to look really cool when I'm done. But the way that I think is you get the basics done first, and then, you know, you go for the crazy. There we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we got the ramps up. This is the garage. Now you can run up on both sides into the crafting area. I'm going to have drop boxes down here so people don't have to run up into the loot room. We got the entire crafting area. Like, look how quickly you can get into the hangar and get to everything in this base. I got to put something over here next. Staircase over there. But yeah, we're going to do something with these corner pieces for sure to make them look a little bit better. So I think... All right, yeah, rooms here, and I think what we'll do, if I'm doing this right, demolish this, and build the staircase. Oh, that is a bad that's a very sharp incline staircase. Not that one. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, and so this area is going to be interesting. I want it to look kind of nicer than what I'm seeing here. I don't like some of this stuff. But this is the decorating stage pretty much now, where I'm going through and making things look pretty. So this will be the inner, outer. Okay. So what I would like to do is use the wedge pieces to make this look just a little bit more uniform. Go. Need to get it. Okay. Outer. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. There we go. So make that look a little bit better there. But here's the staircase going up. Yeah. So these are the kind of things you can do in this game. Really only limited by your imagination. Outer facing. This is just a corridor under the staircase. You can put a little nook there. There you go. And that will be the area up here. Will be for individuals. Okay. So I just need enough room for each person. I'm not gonna do. You can't really keep people out of certain things in the game. You can't give individual bases, so you have to have kind of an honor system. So you could do doors. I think what I'm going to do is just give everyone kind of a little cubby. So I do need to worry about corners. So cubby spaces. Yes, cubbies are cool. So I'm thinking I'm going to have quite a bit of people. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we won't do any corner tower here. 5, 6, 7. That's 7. There we go. Oopsie daisy. 8, 9, 10. So that's 10. Put 10 people. There's a corner. Someone's going to have a bigger room. 10. This needs to be big enough to fly ornithopters in, which it is. So I'm thinking 10, 11, 12, doorway, 13, 14. And realistically, you could have 2 chests and double up these rooms. All right. Pretty silly, I know, but it's the way I flow. And they don't need to be tall. So we have another area up top that we can put... Oh, shit. Shit. That's the way to do it. No. Well, multi-story this bad boy. Multi-story. Someone's gonna get corner. Yep, I could fit an insane amount of people in here now. In fact, we're gonna do this instead. Yeah, someone is definitely going to get corner pieces. You don't need a whole room. You're not a real person. No. Yeah, we're just gonna double story this. So yeah, people can run in here, drop off their still suits, grab their battle gear, and it just gives people a ton. Because I don't want to take people's money in my guild, and I want them to have a place to put those things. You drop all your money. So this was my concept, is just like, you can only have 75 storage containers, but you do get more advanced storage containers later. So as people need, I'm not going to place storage containers unless people need them. The early game storage containers are only 10, but this was kind of just the concept I had, was like, why not make a barracks basically? And what's cool is, once you get ornithopters, you have this whole area now for all your flying birds. All right. So we're down to 243. We're like right there too. So this is great. So we can use wedge walls, structural favorites. Yeah, I don't want to do that. We're going to use the roof pieces. I'm wondering if we do something pretty cool here, but I think I'll stick away from coolness for a second. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be fairly easy to do. I'm going to redo the staircase so that you can come off on either side. I'm going to do a better staircase job. Okay. And then for the staircase incline, I think we can actually do something a little different this time. I wonder how cool that would look. All right. So, yeah, it's a little shitty. It's a little shitty. But we can make it a little less shitty. It seems a bit unnecessary, but yeah, gives us. I don't know if I like it or not. It's a little weird. I like that. I don't need that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. So what we're gonna do is place a wedge wall in the corner. Fill that in. Perfect. Okay. That looks good to me. I'm gonna leave this nook back here. That can be someone else's room. Yep, just need a little bit more here. Fuck. I went outside. I might have to go outside here in a bit and make sure I didn't do anything weird. I'm gonna have to get just a little bit of granite. Okay, something weird. I think I'm building roof tiles on the outside. Sometimes the interface changes so quickly. God damn it, dude. Okay, I'm gonna have to get up. Oh. Okay. All right. So there it is. Okay. Perfect. Little cubby areas. Everything here. You jump out from here. Got a downward angle here. I believe I need to get a corner piece like so. I have 23, huh? Alright. So, have that guy there. That guy there. I do like that little setup for corners. Not enough material. That's fine. We can just at least set it up. I don't know if I did that on that side. Nope. Just the one. Okay. Alright, well we got it going on. So here's our barracks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's enough for 16 people right there. Everyone has an area. I just need to get the half walls up in here. This is beautiful. This is actually really easy to run around. Like, boom, you're in the crafting. Boom, you're here. Boom, you're at your vehicle. All that room, all that efficiency. Glorious. Yeah, I also like the commander room. You can see it pretty darn well. So a lot of this is just going to be decorating out the sides. Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, fly in right here. Land your bird anywhere inside of this area. Drop off gear. I'll probably have some burner storage up here so people don't have to walk downstairs. But if they want to, all the storage is going to be right here. So all the storage is equal distance from both the ornithopters and the buggies. Like, everything is equal distance pretty much to storage. I like this a lot for some reason. This will be the special storage room. And I'll have my friend decorate this one, but we can do whatever we want down here pretty much. No rules here. But holy cow. That took a bit of time. Okay. So I'm going to fast forward just a tad bit and get some things done. Alright, so you can see with the windows, they add natural lighting. This is why I think windows are super important, because it gets really dark. We got almost all the cubbies, but one. And I will say that the best way, honestly, to get these things to work is when you're placing it, just hold the left mouse button and build it as you place it. That's one mistake that I was making pretty substantially. So that is pretty sweet. And I've built a bunch of random ass stuff that I have to go outside and take care of. But we now have our cubby spaces, so I'll have storage chests for each individual player in there. And this is the hangar bay on the 3rd floor. So let's get up and going. Alright, we have a bunch of little riff-raff pieces. Now, I was looking at this from a distance, and it does look a little silly. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is putting a middle area. Now, we're going to have windmills and stuff like that here. Accidentally, as you can see, did some weird stuff outside. But we got most of that. And I need to put corner pieces on. So I'm just going to count the tiles. 8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. If I were going to have a little area, it would need to be right here. What I think we're going to end up doing is using the special rounded windows tier 2s. And, okay. Yeah, if I place that here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here is 1, 2, 3. One more over. So here, this will allow me to save a little bit of a space. Alright. So I only have to use one piece instead of a bunch. And And there we go. This should be about dead center. So 1, 2, 3, perfect. 1, 2, 3, perfect. 2, 3, perfect. 1, 2, 3, perfect. Okay. The question is, where's the door for this? Alright, so we're gonna have it like that, but yeah, I need a doorway. There's no, doesn't look like there's any rounded doorways, unfortunately, so this part will be a tad bit more expensive. But we can use the rounded window here. Okay. This is looking great. Perfect. Awesome. So we'll essentially have what I'm going to call like a little bit of a half tower. It's going to look nice. I put the door on the side. I don't think many people will be looking at it from. But this will be an observatory post where you can get as high as possible and look around. Just for, you know, for fun. We have a hatch over here. But now we're in the beauty phase. So now we need to turn this Wal-Mart into something that looks a lot nicer. But the core is there. The core functionality of how I want everything to work is there. And I also thought of a really good thing to do with this back area over here. So you're limited on how many refineries and things you can have based on how much energy they take. And so you need actually multiple fuel generators. But you don't need to access, you know, you don't have to have these out in the open all the time. So what I'm thinking is we just place them back in these cubbies. So you can fuel them from the subfief right over here. So I'm going to put the subfief. Oh, that's a beautiful spot. This is a beautiful spot. So right over here. And I can decorate this and turn this into a lounge. Center that. There's our subfief option. So I can come over here and click on this, use it, and refuel generators. So this will refuel all generators equally instead of me going to one and putting... You need to have all generators equal. Otherwise, if one turns off, half of the stuff in your base turns off. So that now we're getting kind of like into the efficiency of design. So I know a lot of this doesn't seem like potentially I know what I'm talking about, to be honest. But I assure you that I slightly do. It's a bit chaotic because it's just a lot of things that I'm not explaining very well in my thought process. But for the time being, yeah, we're going to put generators and we're going to put water and all types of stuff back here. So this is kind of like a utility closet, right? So we'll have room for more generators and just things that we don't need. We do want quick access to water in certain locations. So yeah, everything around here is good. So here's my water containers. Now I kind of think that these look good like in a circle around here. So if people need water, they just come over to this corner. And it's good to have things kind of centralized. So this is like the rec room, I guess, the water cooler where people come to mess around. But here we go. So yeah, we'll have water there. We'll have all of our fuel generators here, out of sight, out of mind. This will be clear. This will be used for a lot of stuff. Now this is probably one of the more important ones, which is blood. So when I come in, I don't necessarily want to go all the way upstairs at all. So you can see here, this is uneven ground, not enough to support uneven ground. So you have to put your blood guy in a spot that's going to be good. I'm kind of worried about people getting stuck back there. So let me think about this. So yeah, what if people get stuck? That's okay. I'm going to put it here. So people can come over here, drop off their blood. It will automatically go into water storage. So there's the blood drop off point, and you know, I'm gonna put just a few chests down there. I'm just trying to give people an idea of what this is actually all about. So we're gonna place, this is basically just a drop off point. So if I want my storage kind of like right here. And then the vehicles can be lined up against the side here. And this will basically create a nice little point that the crafters can just run down here. Basically, people are going to come in, just drop off whatever they got, and they're gonna boot out. I don't want them, you know, sorting, and I don't want them doing all that stuff. I'm leaving a gap here so that I can upgrade these to the next tier of storage. So 20. But basically, yeah, you just have a line of chest for drop off. You have a drop off point for blood. Maybe you have two of these because these only are like 21,000, so potentially two. And you can place that up against the wall here. Back here is just another area where people can do a lot of stuff. Potentially put another blood collector back there. In fact, it actually might be more feasible. This is not for vehicles. This is for other people. That might actually be the best place. Put multiple blood banks, and then people can park their vehicles here. You know, you have your chest around a centralized area that the crafters know where to go. And then, like, this is a recycler. So a recycler, I think, yeah, a recycler around these parts would actually be pretty smart. Because you might pull in and realize you don't want something, but I'll let the crafters decide that. So my thought process was, you know, have all of the crafting buildings in a nice little row around here and have all the storage centralized to make it easier. But let me see. This is going to be the harder part. So we're just basically moving all of the crafting stations over here. Perfection. And like I said, I use the windows for free light. It's free light. It's really, really nice. Get your fabricators. So things are a little messy right now, but this will leave. And then the big areas down here, we can put more crafting at a later point. So this is, as you can see, a bit overkill currently. But I think given time, you're going to want multiple crafting capacities. You're going to want multiple ore refineries, especially when you're dealing with, you know, 20 people. And honestly, this area over here would have probably been pretty darn decent for some of this stuff. Hold on. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna put the recycler next to the fabricator. I'm gonna put the chem station at an angle here. It's blocked by itself. Okay, perfect. And then these guys they fit perfectly. These are ore refineries. I'll probably have multiples of these. And I think you can, yeah, we can build multiples. It's just salvaged metal. But keep in mind, these all have power requirements. So the more things you place, the more fuel cells you're going to need. But when you have a lot of people, it's useful. It's really useful to have stuff like this. You can see that they kind of want you facing towards them. These are actually a little annoying to use. You just got to in the corner. But that will allow us to have multiple things processing there. And so this is the kind of the concept that I was going for. I don't know why the heck that's there. And then we're going to move storage. And so my thought process is eventually storage containers are actually going to be huge. So you could, I mean, you could do this in a couple of ways. The main thing though is you want it to be ease of use for everybody involved because it's hard to find things. So I'm thinking kind of having storage like this. We're just going to use placeholders for now. And ways we want people to be able to walk through, hit the crafting station. So, for instance, let me just kind of get into what I'm thinking is you have things like the stash, right? So all orange, you got blue, orange, green, everything else, armor, equipment. So if you have a row for each of those areas or you have a predefined thing to sort by color, you can pretty much get all this done. But this basically allows everybody to maneuver around. It's ridiculously big, right? It's ridiculously big. But as long as everything works, there shouldn't be a problem. So the trick of all this is going to be optimizing space for movement. And I can probably put these a bit closer. So what I need to do is figure it out. So each row, I'm thinking, is going to be an item or subject. So some things might need more. This is for like a 20-man guild, so you're like, dude, why are you doing this? It's like, this is for a lot of people. Trust me, just 4 of us, it was pretty hectic. So I'm going to leave enough room around the crafting buildings. This, I think I can pull in just a tad bit more. So the object for me is, how do I fit the most amount and make it feasible to walk around? Perfect. This is quite a bit of storage, as you can see. I've left ample room down here for crafting. You could also park your bike down here too, honestly. You don't have to go all the way over there. And then this actually seems like a really good place for like weapon armor, and like, you're gonna want a place to just throw things down, right? So this will work. I think I'll probably have to play it by ear for now. But this is kind of what I was thinking. Like, have all your crafting, have all your stuff. You have all the crafting stations all the way around this. And then, yeah, you're in good shape. So I think what I'm going to do is take this. So the concept here is to have a co-owners only lounge. Where really important things like special oh, well, that shouldn't be there. Really important things like special blueprints, all that can be stored. Okay. Yeah, we went a little crazy over here, it looks like. Go. Perfect. All right, everything here seems to be great. Now I'm in the beauty phase, so we just got to get everything going. But yeah, I like this. This is the crafter area. So you can walk in, throw everything up there. The crafters can come up there. So like, this is how easy it's going to be. Like, the crafters are going to come down to the drop-off point, gather all the shit. They know exactly where it goes in storage. Run up here, put it away. You got your crafting stations right here. This is perfect. So if you need to craft something, you pull in, drop off your blood, come up here, craft. This is like really fluid. It's going to be easy to traverse. Now it's pretty big, but once people get used to everything, and they get used to, you know, I have full water, so I don't need crap. But you can just drink straight from the tap here. Like I said, now the big thing is going to be making this not look like a really shitty Walmart. And that's my next goal, is to beautify all this. There's lights and all that stuff. So I'm not going to show that part because I think I've bored people to tears already. And I want to show people the final result. But I did move a lot of stuff here. But this is great. This is actually really great. And we have a point here. We have a point over there. Everything is really fluid. And so I think this is going to look excellent. And it has everything that we want. This is awesome. Super efficient. Yeah. This is sweet. There's going to be about, I think, between 15 to 20 people running around here. So seems like a lot for one person. But I think it's going to be logistically pretty darn awesome. And if, you know, I want to, I can line boxes up against here and have... I can have more crafting stations over here. This is a perfect place for crafting stations, and we can just align this area with storage. I can also, if I want to, put ceilings here and have a 2-story storage area. This can all be modified based upon what is needed. That's the idea, is that this is more of a template, right? This is not the final result. This is just, if I need to adapt, I have the space to adapt, and it's pretty sweet. So I'm going to fast forward here after I've decorated everything and give you a final tour of the base. All right, so much done, so much done. Let's just do a basic kind of look at what I was able to accomplish. Took quite a bit of time. I'm running really low on granite. I think I used probably about 8,000 granite in this build, which isn't too crazy when you think about it. I was not able to add a tower on that side. I was able to add towers to this side and a funky tower on the other side just because I ran out of room on the side. But this is what I'm basically going for. Like, at the end of the day, I have multiple routes. So let's get this show on the road. We're going to go back inside. What I did was I created a nice little area over here. And we got ourselves a nice little walkway that can get us from point A to point B. So just adding a couple little things here. And gonna demolish this. Very good. So now we're gonna get back to decorating, but I just want to show everyone the layout once more. All right. So yeah, we're doing great. Everything is perfectly in order. So I had to amend a lot of the corner pieces, put some, you know, walkways out. Got a nice little hidden area over here. Have a little area here with a walkway. We can come out here. Now the idea would be to put a walkway around the whole thing, but I just didn't really have time for that. Walkways up top, so now we can go up top. This is the awesome area. So more areas where people can go out and look around. Unfortunately, as I said, in the corner over there, things got a little weird. And I did figure out that there is actually in the roofing. Let's go here. That's a nice little rug that we're gonna put down eventually. So in the roofs, there's actually one called floor, and that's why they're black. So you don't want to do rooftop for this like I did. You want to use the floor piece. I actually kind of like, to be honest though, the rooftop, like it goes with everything. So if you want it black, use the floor. But if you want it like this, use the rooftop. I actually prefer it personally. So happy mistakes as always. But yeah, the top rooms here, I just expanded to be rather large. So if I do get a bunch of people or a group of people, we can put multiple chests in here and they can share it. The idea is, you know, you have to trust your people not to steal from each other, which is, you know, generally you should be playing with people you trust. But it allows them to have a place where they can store the things that belong to them, weapons and so forth, and that they don't really want to share. Most things are shared, but you know that I do allow for those kind of things. I shouldn't say allow. I do want people to have fun, so it's important to encourage that. And over here, I just used some triangles to make it a little bit pokey. You can see that I also added lights to the bottom of stairs and doorways. Most importantly, a hanging light there, a light over there. No, lights at the beginning of the doorway to show people, a light at the blood, and a light above the drop box. This really helps at night. But you can see the windows really, really help a lot in keeping light. You only get 30 lights. So on the tier 2 Thief. So yeah. But anyway, that's it. Look at that. Everything is super, super clean. So I did come up here and add in a lot more. Oh no! So there is a phase door that comes at tier, steel, and so eventually we will be able to. Unfortunately, I am very bad at climbing. Probably a pet peeve of mine. Anyway, I added railing around everything. I wasn't able to get that corner just because of the way that things were situated. There are land claims. You can expand vertically and horizontally. So right now, this is as tall as I can actually get the base, so I will need the other land claim. But yeah, over here, we got ourselves these little towers. This is the idea. So once you can expand the claim, you can make this a little bit different if you want. But this is what I have so far, and I think it works really well. But we have, you can see 2 hangar bays on top, so that your ornithopters can fly in. And then we have the bottom area here, and the ramp. So let me get out my vehicle and just show you what makes this so freaking cool. Eventually, I do want to get the double wide phase doors, which we will get. So there you go. You pull in, you drop off your loot, you drop off your blood, you go back out. That's basically it. I'm going to have much better things down here, but if you want to come in from the other way or go out the other side, a little sloppy on the landing there. But that's the idea here, is that you can come in from either side and get off and do what you need to do. So having your bottom level just be one giant garage slash crafting area, pretty beneficial. So this is the one thing that's kind of annoying, is you have to kind of approach the gates, but like I said, you just go straight down, right into the garage. You get off your bike, unload all your loot, like so. Another thing that's kind of cool is if you hold quick deposit, you can just deposit everything that you have if there's room, or like kinds. So any like kind thing will be deposited. So if anything that's not like kind, though, you'll have to do that. Just a little hint for when you're trying to do things, but you're gonna have to kind of memorize the color coordination and all that jazz. So we have everything here. Now it's time to start decorating and start like filling in some of the things that we need for this. So we're simply just going to go to our area here. Looks like we need a little bit of iron to do better stuff. I had to remove the water containers by accident. So yeah, we're just gonna have the water cooler room over here. Just kind of get that up. Refineries. So we honestly have quite a bit of things, but you know, multiple people are gonna want to make armor pieces. It does have a queue, so you don't have to worry too much. You can queue things if you want. I would probably suggest that you have at least probably 2 fabricators for 20 people, though. So just get that up. But essentially, this is what things will look like. But keep in mind, as I said, you will have cost electricity. So currently, I have 2 generators going. It will tell you whether or not. You can see that the cost is yellow and increasing it. So each one of these field power allows for plus 75. So we're doing really well. Repair station. This is something that I don't believe I actually have in this base. Now, the repair station, I would actually say, would be better situated for where people are coming in. Like I said, all inventory pulls from the entire base. So if you wanted a place where people could just quickly repair their instruments, I mean, I could even make an argument for placing it like slightly right here. I think though what we're going to do is we're going to place it right here in the doorway. It's going to be the repair station. Don't have enough mats for it right now, but that's okay. I think currently we need iron. Now, iron in this game, which I'm sure a lot of people are interested in. We have a recycler. Yeah, so the recycler, from my point of view, should be put... maybe have a few of them. Now, I can't put... This is what's going to go on the roof. This is a wind trap, but I don't have access to steel in the beta. But this will also generate energy, and I don't believe requires fuel, but does require a lubricant that is made in the chem station. So, all that aside, we are kind of at the stage, like I said, this is built to scale. So I don't have a full, group of people that actually need to come in here. But, with that said, there are a lot of decorations, and you can buy both of these. You can buy a pack at each of the trade hubs in the game. So, in the southern area, there is Griffin's Trade Post right here. This is where the trooper trainer is. You can see the icon for that. And a house representative. And then over here is Anvil. And there's another cosmetic pack you can buy for decorations there. You can see the decorations are really, really expensive, but they got a lot of really cool things. Like you can put a pillar down and then put furniture around it. It's pretty good looking thing to do. And you can put you got wavy couches, you got normal couches, you got beds, you got looks like a wardrobe, you got drawers, you got wall patterns. You can put up wall patterns. I don't know, do what you want, but you can make things look as interesting and unique as you want. Some of this stuff does a little bit better than others with circular areas. I've found honestly that the best way to do those benches and such are around pillars. They just look really, really good. Now, you don't always need a structural pillar, to be honest, but you definitely could. So if we were to do this, what we'd want to do is move this away for a second and pull out our guy, put a pillar. See, the pillar isn't going to be able to be centered. It's got to go kind of around an area like that. So, interestingly enough, you don't have full control over all of that stuff. So, if I were to put a pillar there, then we go in the decorations, and then we go into couch corner, you can see that you can put a area for people to sit kind of all the way around it. Doesn't always go the way you want. Nothing ever does. Okay, and then yeah, so this is where you probably want to move things around. So I'm just going to place them for now, and then I'm going to use the move feature. All right, we can build these things actually, and then move them around. These are also kind of cool, these little pieces that here you can walk through the edge. Alright. Okay. So now we're going to move all of this. See, sometimes there's a little bit of a problem, but all you need to do is kind of maneuver around things. Now we can see what we think is going to do best and get this as close as possible. It's blocked by another object. Sometimes you just got to circle around. I'm going to move some of the stuff out of the way because it's having problems registering it. Remember, this is beta, so don't get too freaked out. It is a little hard. But once you get something, you can blueprint the whole dang thing, so that's probably the coolest thing right there. So what I want to do now is use this piece as a bridge gap. That's why base building, it's not a race, right? It's going to be something that you do over time. Like, you take a little bit of time every day do, and it's going to be great. So you can see it's actually somewhat easier just to line these up like so. With the smaller pieces, they might be a little easier. You need to move this out of its own way. That's one other thing that you got to be kind of aware of. All right, that's almost good enough. I would actually venture to say that the pillar kind of looks weird. So what we can do is we have all these benches here. Is we can actually move this guy here. There we go. So now people can walk up to it. It's like a fountain. I don't know. It's the only fountain I got. But yeah, no, it works. I think no, I guess it didn't get blocked by its own path. It's just something. It's clipping on potentially this light that I had. So the light's going to be an interesting one to be able to touch again. Yeah, sometimes the game can be a little challenging. There we go, decoration for light. I'm just going to destroy that for now. I'm also going to demolish this. And yeah. Okay. So we'll put that stuff there. We got the coolers. But anyway, you kind of get the gist of it. Decorating is definitely going to be something that you toy around with it. We got wall art here that we can put up. I mean, we really got it going on. Make it look as cool as you want. There's a lot of interesting things in this game. Some of this stuff doesn't always work the way you would hope it would. So furniture, there are chairs as well. Place a chair next to the water cooler. It looks pretty small up from far away. Let's sit and see how small this looks. Yeah, that's a normal chair. There you go. Oh, wow. I didn't know there was a loading screen to get out of a chair. So that's an interesting one. But there's a lot of cool little things in here. Tables, little weird seats, beds. I don't think we need a bed at all. But ideally, we will have some decorations. And again, be challenging, but yeah, I actually kind of like that. I mean, I had it in the center before, but this makes it feel more like a lounge, so this is pretty cool. But basically, you just there's going to be even more decorations as the game progresses. This is just a taste of what decorations are there. So these are drawers. Like I said, this is going to be water storage. This is going to be fuel. So a lot of this is just basic decoration at this point. So there are rugs. I think the rugs are probably some of the cooler things. They're only like 50 plant fiber. But I'm thinking about putting the rugs at the entry point. You can see that the light, you need to place these down before you place other things on top of them. But yeah, you can get yourself a rug in there. Probably would have been wise to have gotten a rug in here. But yep, not a big deal. But you only get so many of everything. I think you can have quite a bit of decorations. So the game is definitely going to be pretty amazing. I think you're looking at this and you're like, this is kind of big, too big for me. You can definitely make smaller versions of everything. So yeah, don't get too hung up on that, but you really can make your bases look pretty darn cool. And with all the shapes, you know, you can build a castle, you can build things however you want. Again, I have all my stuff floating over here. This is a small chemical refinery. This is the recycler. This is the fabricator. Got my ore makers. And the big thing you're going to have with iron ore is just getting enough, honestly, just getting enough water. So you need iron to build quite a bit of the really cool things in the game. But the general theme is there. Now we get up to 75 storage containers. So up here in this area, I'm going to have quite a bit of storage. So I might as well start building out some of the things that I want just to get kind of a flow. Make this place not feel like a haunted mansion, so to speak. So we can go to storage. Currently, I don't have enough to build the chest, but that's okay. So essentially what I want to do is have a small chest in here. Maybe a decoration, but each person, eventually these will be much bigger, but each person will basically have a place to put any of the things that they want to keep. Their money, like I said, you want to kind of encourage your guildmates to have fun and contribute to the overall progress of everybody. But you also don't want people to feel like they're slaving away in the mines for you. So this is the remedy to that. The little bunker area. So this is my this is my first rough draft of my base. I think I could probably do a bit better of a job. Once you kind of know how much space you actually need, I tend to like to overdo it on space, because especially if you're gonna have like well, you can store ornithopters and bikes, right? So but assault ornithopters and things like that, and you also need a place to take off from. So that's actually kind of, ooh, yeah. Think about that. So we do need a place to take off. So let's go back over to our decorations. Ooh, okay. And the carpet. So I do like the carpet. I do like the aspect of that. So I'm gonna create kind of like a carpet runway. A little bit to let people know where to not park. Where to not park your vehicle. Okay. Oh, yeah, we have a little bit. That's not a bad idea. Have a little bit of a carpeted runway there. Now, granite is cool. Now, what we really need to look at before I finish some of this stuff is what the maximum decorations are. So, I come down here into the water room. So, we can have 350 decorations, 35 doors, 10 projections, 75 storage chests, 30 lights, 40 production buildings, 2,500 building pieces. We're not even close to any of that. The real one that's kind of hurting us, honestly, is lights and storage. But to be honest, like, yeah, those rooms are only going to cost me like 15 of that maximum storage. So I have plenty, honestly, plenty. And what I need to do is potentially just get more iron so I can build everything out properly. But these things are cool too. The decorations are really neat. You can use them to spice things up. You know, there's not enough support right here, but you just want to put something just to, you know, give a little bit of a feel to everything. And there's going to be, like I said, like insane decorations in this game. So I was going to decorate quite a bit here. But yeah, so this looks great. Every room has its storage. I was hoping we could get like some kind of numbered system, or like I need to have something, right? So that people kind of know which room is theirs. So you could do something like this, where you have a decoration, you say, okay, you're on the left and you're on the right of that decoration, right? And then you have, okay, you're on the left or right of the light. And then over here, you're on the right-hand side, left or right of the decoration, right? So a system like that can actually work pretty darn well. People who know they're on the corner know it. So there you go. So that's kind of how you remember, okay, I'm left of the right decoration, etc., etc. And then same thing over here. Perfect. Okay, cool. I actually like that. That looks a little neat. That gives some concept of who's who in the grand scheme of things. But luckily we can have a lot of decorations, it seems. Okay. Yeah, it's freaking out. But yeah, we get wardrobes, we get drawers, we get wall partitions. Now the wall partitions are kind of interesting. I think they might look better in certain places. I think that the bookshelf definitely. So this is what I was going to call the co-owner's lounge, and it's just going to be a place where people can. No one's going to hang out here. The co-owners are going to be too busy out there raiding. So I'm just going to build a sleek little library here. And then we're going to put couch in here. Or actually, I think reading chairs would make more sense. I don't know. I don't think I would want to read right next to somebody. Yeah, that would be awkward as heck. Remember, the part picker is your friend if you're wrestling with things, but need a little bit more granite. The decorations are pretty expensive. I might want to move these things over a bit too more. But you kind of get the gist of it. Like, you know, everything seems empty at first, but once you really start getting things moving, you can make your base very, very nice. So, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Meant to move this, so we're gonna move this over. And I'm gonna move this guy here. Go. But anyway, just getting the basic building blocks. But the idea with having this kind of storage here, like I said, is you go to use manage and you just say co-owners only. That way, anything in here. So this is actually a good example because you're gonna find things that you don't want everyone to have access to because they don't fully understand, how valuable some of this stuff is. So if you just want to protect people from themselves and so that they're not accidentally making things, good way to do it. But yep, so a lot of room for expansion, a lot of room for everything, and away we go. Right, so that is basically it for the build. So thank you guys for watching. I have other videos. I know this was a bit of a long one, but I'm sure people are really interested in how the crafting and building system in this game works. So there you go.